Welcome back, everyone, to A Course in Miracles in Practice.
Hi there. Good to be diving in again.
So today, we're taking a really focused look at Lesson 113. It pulls directly from Lessons 95 and 96, which we've touched on before.
Right, let's do it. Here is Lesson 113.
I am one self, united with my Creator.
Serenity and perfect peace are mine because I am one self, completely whole, at one with all creation and with God.
Salvation comes from my one self.
For from my one self, whose knowledge still remains within my mind, I see God's perfect plan for my salvation perfectly fulfilled.
On the hour, I am one self, united with my Creator.
On the half hour, salvation comes from my one self.
And that's the lesson. Okay, so this morning driving in, wow, it felt particularly intense out there.
Oh, tell me about it. Some days are just like that, aren't they? Everyone seems to be in such a rush.
Exactly. Just, yeah, aggressive, people weaving, cutting super close. And I felt it, that not in my stomach, the fear, honestly.
Anger too, probably, like, come on.
Oh, yeah, definitely anger. I caught myself having these thoughts about wanting them to, I don't know, get a flat tire or something, just immediate payback.
It happens so fast, doesn't it? You start the day feeling okay, maybe even peaceful, and then bam, someone pulls some crazy move and suddenly you're just completely thrown off.
Right. Your whole inner state just gets hijacked by whatever's happening outside. It's wild how quickly that shift occurs.
It really is. And, thinking about that lesson you just read, it's such a contrast, isn't it?
Huge contrast. How does that fit with being oneself?
Yeah.
It feels like the opposite.
Well, maybe that urge shows us just how separate we feel in that moment. If you really felt connected, truly deeply connected, would that need to lash out even arise?
That's a good point. It's like the anger comes from feeling isolated and attacked by these others.
It suggests we believe we're vulnerable, that our peace depends entirely on what other people are doing or not doing.
So when the Course says serenity and perfect peace are mine because we're oneself, it's not pretending the bad driving or the traffic jams disappear.
No, not at all. It's not denying the experience of the stressful commute. It seems to be pointing towards something deeper, a kind of fundamental reality inside us that, isn't actually disturbed by the outside chaos.
Like a calm beneath the waves, sort of?
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
It's suggesting our peace isn't actually dependent on the traffic flowing smoothly. It's already there, part of our one self.
Okay, I think I'm following. But then the next part, salvation comes from my one self. Stuck in gridlock, salvation feels like, I don't know, a helicopter airlift.
I get that feeling.
How do we square that internal salvation with such, intensely external frustrations?
Well, maybe the salvation the lesson talks about isn't rescue from the traffic jam itself.
Okay.
It might be more about liberation from the belief that our happiness, our peace, our salvation for the moment hinges on things outside of us going perfectly.
So if I'm looking for salvation in the traffic clearing up,
then you're essentially handing your peace of mind over to the Department of Transportation, right? Or just random chance.
Right, which I definitely can't control.
The lesson seems to invite us to take that power back by remembering the source of peace is actually within us. It's always accessible.
So even when that, initial blast of road rage hits, the guidance is to look inward for the solution rather than, say, mentally replaying how you wish you'd honked back longer.
Yes. The external thing, the bad driver, triggers a feeling. That's human.
Sure.
But the lesson reminds us gently, hey, you have a choice here about where you anchor your feeling state. Do you let the external drama dictate it, or do you reconnect with that unchanging oneself?
It's offering a whole different way to process these daily bumps in the road. Literally, in this case.
It is. Shifting the focus from trying to control or fix the outside world to cultivating a stable inner center.
It's a perspective shift, isn't it? Moving from feeling like a victim of circumstances
to recognizing you have this intrinsic connection to peace, always there, under the service noise.
This whole conversation actually reminds me, we got a question from a listener that really ties into this. All about everyday frustrations kind of colliding with these Course principles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let me read it. They wrote, "Today I was walking to work and this guy suddenly stopped on the sidewalk in front of me and I bumped into him hard. He made me drop my coffee. I was so angry I wanted to punch him out. No coffee, no time to get more. I'm not seeing how lesson 113 will make this better."
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That is one of those moments, isn't it? Pure instant irritation. Spilled coffee is just adds insult to injury.
Totally. That feeling of your space being invaded, your routine disrupted, plus no caffeine. It's a potent mix.
It really is.
So for our listener, how can oneself, united with my Creator, possibly help when you're feeling that immediate, stab of anger and loss?
Well, in that exact moment, the collision, the coffee going everywhere, the feeling is probably intense separation, right?
Definitely. Separation from your coffee, separation from a calm morning, separation from that guy.
Exactly. And the lesson gently pulls us back towards remembering our shared nature. Even that person who stopped short, however annoying it was, is part of that same one self. Just holding that thought, even intellectually at first, can start to take the edge off the anger that comes from feeling so separate and wronged.
Okay, I see that. And the salvation comes from my oneself part.
Yeah.
Because I bet the listeners thinking salvation would have been not spilling the coffee.
Of course, understandably. But again, that's looking for the fix outside.
Right.
The lesson suggests the listener's real escape, their inner balance, isn't actually dependent on whether that guy walked properly or whether the coffee stayed in the cup.
It comes from within them.
It comes from within their oneself. The spilled coffee is annoying, yes, inconvenient, absolutely. But it doesn't have the power to destroy that inner peace unless we, give it that power.
So, okay, let's get practical. Listeners there, coffee on the pavement, fuming. What's the first step with lesson 113?
I think the very first thing is just a conscious pause. Before reacting further, take a breath.
Just breathe.
Yeah. And maybe silently repeat, I am one self, united with my creator. It creates just a little bit of space between the event and the habitual reaction. A moment to remember there's a bigger picture.
And then maybe trying to shift focus. Not letting the spilled coffee ruin the whole day.
Yes, that's key. It happened. It stinks. But it doesn't have to become the defining event of the next 8 hours. Acknowledge the annoyance, but then, gently try to pivot away from replaying it mentally. See it as a minor glitch.
Okay. And the hardest part, maybe finding some understanding for the other person when you really just want to be mad at them.
That is often the trickiest part, but it's also really powerful for reclaiming your own peace. Maybe they were lost in thought. Maybe they got a sudden text message. Maybe they're just having a bad day too.
Doesn't excuse it, but...
Doesn't excuse it, no. But it helps us soften our judgment. If we can see them, even for a second, not as the villain who ruined coffee time, but just as another person, another aspect of that oneself. Well, the anger often loses some of its grip. It's less about them, more about freeing yourself.
So it's acknowledge the feeling, the anger, the frustration. It's real, but don't let it hijack the whole system. And keep bringing it back gently to that core idea. I am one self. That's where the real peace is found.
That really is the practice, isn't it? It's a gentle redirection over and over, reminding ourselves who we truly are, which is way bigger than just someone whose coffee got spilled. Realizing our inner state isn't actually a hostage to, clumsy pedestrians or bad drivers.
Thanks again for being here with us on A Course in Miracles in Practice.
If anything we talked about made you pause or think, or, left you wondering, but what about? Just please drop us a line, shoot us an email. We really genuinely want to know what's percolating for you.
ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org.
That's ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org.
We look forward to hearing your perspectives.